Continuing on our last video about my camp kitchen and what I take on a road trip, I thought I would show you my first aid kit. I know, it's not the most sexy topic in the world, but let's face it, it's something we gotta talk about. I'd rather have it and not need it than need it and be kicking myself in the backside. So this is my kit. There are none like it. I have made it myself. First of all, I am not a medical professional of any kind. If you have any concerns, any thoughts, you want to know more about pet first aid or your own first aid, take a course. And be careful about Google because they are likely trying to sell you something. Okay, I guess I kind of am too, but not really. And you don't always know who's putting what info out online. So talk to your vet. Go to a local vet association for training. They often have kits that you can buy and it's all put together. I kind of wanted to do my own thing because I wanted to do my own thing. This kit is for myself and for the dogs, so it's a one-stop shop. Okay, so let's get into it. This is one of those towels that you wet with water, you wring it out and it cools off. Because I ride with brachycephalic, aka squishy face dogs, they are very sensitive to heat and overheating. So I want to be able to help cool them down as quickly as I can. So that's why I have this. Now you can buy vests that are of the same material and do the same job, but I don't really want to be carrying 3 separate vests around for 3 separate dogs. And believe it or not, because King's head is so massive, I actually bought him one, and when I tried to put it on to test it out, it literally was like, and it squeezed all of his wrinkles out. And the poor guy just looked at me like, what are you doing? So we gave up on that. And I can use this if need be. Bear belt. Couple reasons. So I always know where a bear bell is. I don't have to worry about it getting lost in the car. My brain's going faster than my mouth. And let's just say we're driving along, we come across a collision, I spring purposefully out of my car, I put my kit down on the side of the road, and someone kicks it or gravity takes over and now I know A, it's not where I put it, and B, hopefully I can find it quicker than if I just turned around and I was like, oh, where's my first aid kit? So let's get into it. Now, I wrap pretty much everything in zip top bags, and there's a few reasons for that. One, like stays with like, so everything's kind of somewhat organized, even though it's just in a bin. 2, if the fluids explode, or if the bin itself gets damaged, I don't have to worry about liquids ruining everything in the bin. And inevitably bad things happen in the rain. So the last thing I want to do is stop at the side of the road, I pull out my kit, I reach in, and I've now soaked everything. This way, I only have to deal with replacing the stuff that gets wet and then I open. So, nitrile gloves. I went with nitrile because that way I don't have to worry about if I'm helping someone whether they have a latex allergy or not. And I gotta do this quietly because someone has learned that I keep beef jerky in similar bags. So when I open it, all of a sudden I get the dirty look if I don't give her beef jerky. And I'm talking about Lily. So you see I call them pills. These are just pairs of gloves. So I take the gloves, I pull out 2 at a time, I roll them on up, and I stuff them in the bag. This is just a thing that I do. This way when you reach in and you grab something, you're not pulling out all your gloves. potentially, you know, contaminating them before you're ready to contaminate them with whatever you're handling. You've got a handy pair. So this is, I'm not going to give you the brand name, it is diphenhydramine hydrochloride. And I've got it in a baggie along with a syringe. And what I've done is worked out everyone's dosage, and I taped it onto the side of the bottle. This is in case someone goes and sticks their face in a beehive and their face... So it's an antihistamine. Like I said, I'll let you figure out the name. Now the reason why I covered up the dosage is I worked that all out with a calculator because I'm mathematically inept after talking to my vet. So this way I don't have to think about, bad day on the trail, someone's face is, they're having trouble breathing, it's just bad. I just look at it and go, okay, this is how much I draw out and squirt down their throat. If you have a dog that's of a similar size, I don't want you to just assume the same measurement. So that's why I covered up. It's not that I don't trust you or think that you're going to do something bad. It's just talk to your vet. So a squirty bottle of alcohol. The thing about alcohol, or rubbing alcohol, or I guess any alcohol, it's not safe for dog consumption. So this is pretty much strictly for me. If my dog is injured in such a way that I'm concerned about bacterial or anything, contamination of any kind, they're injured and I'm worried about it getting infected, they're going to the vet anyway. I'm not too concerned about the alcohol. And the big problem with alcohol is, you squirt it on them or you pour it on them, or, their pack mate decides they want to help out and they lick it and they're ingesting it. Are they likely going to ingest enough to make them sick? Likely not. Do I want to risk it? No. And it stings. So if they're hurt bad and they're already upset, and the last thing I want to do is now spray something that burns onto something while they're already in pain. So they may have just been kind of holding it on and being somewhat calm. Next thing you know, I put fire, this on them and they lose their mind. I'd rather just wait, get them to the vet, and go from there. Self-Adhesive Bandage. I got this at a equestrian tack shop, but you can find this in a lot of places. It's just like those tensor bandages, except it sticks to itself. And you don't have to worry about those stupid metal clips that always got lost anyway. I don't know if this is cotton, but I always think of it as cotton wraps. It's not tape. That's the important thing to kind of remember. It's not tape. So what you can use this for is as a dressing. So something to absorb, say blood. To hold dressings in place if you don't want to worry about tape or this sort of stuff. Another really good use is wrapping splints. So if you have to splint something, just throw a little bit of padding on it just to make it a little bit more comfortable. And because I travel with dogs, I can use this as an emergency muzzle. So cut a strip of it off, tie a loop in the middle, put that over their muzzle, tie it, obviously not tie it, but tie it snug and then wrap it behind their ears and tie it again. Triangular bandages, same kind of idea. Like let's say I've sliced my palm open or someone else has sliced their palm open. Put that, have them hold it, wrap the hand. Sling, again, muzzle, pad, splints, all kinds of uses to this. Cotton balls, mostly for cleaning. And let's face it, me. For the most part, this is going to be me. If the dogs have a very, very minor, like abrasion, just water and wipe it off. Adhesive strips, again, this is for me since this won't stick to fur. Cotton swabs, not for cleaning ears, that's bad. But for cleaning small scrapes, bruises, not bruises, lacerations, or if you've got something just kind of floating on the cornea, doing the old dab and take it off. Non-stick pads, so you've got to cut, slap that on, wrap it up. Antibiotic ointment. Again, this is mostly for me if it's on the dogs. They're going to be bandaged up. If I'm worried about bandaging them up, they're going to the vet anyway. Okay. Anyone who knows me knows that I have, shall we say, an aversion to ticks. I despise them with a passion that I cannot even begin to describe. This is a tick twister or something similar. I don't know what the brand name is. So what you do is if you have a tick that's attached to you or your canine companions, you would slide this between you and the tick, give it a twist, they pop off, you throw it into the fire to return them to the bowels of hell from which they came, and then you drink yourself into oblivion. Or you do what you're supposed to do and put it into some kind of a package. So I'd empty those out, or probably empty these out, throw it in that, and then ship it off to your local health unit and they'll test it for Lyme disease. Fun. Tweezers for splinters and such. I get the needle nose pliers is a little odd. I grew up in the country and like clockwork, every year our dogs would go out and try to eat a porcupine. So now my dogs are not going to be making friends with porcupines because they are kept on leash, because 2 of them have 0 recall that I can rely upon. And Leo is, let's say, selective with whether he listens to me or not sometimes. So they are on leash. However, that's not to say that it's beyond the realm of possibility that they poke their head underneath a log next to a trail and they get a porcupine tail across the face. If it's just a few quills, I'll just pull them out. If it's a lot of quills, we're doing a trip to the vet so that they can get sedated. That whole, yes, you can do that whole cut the end off and pull them out. I'm not gonna be playing around with that when I'm by myself. And if it's more than 2 or 3, it's gonna hurt them too much. Just have them sedated and yank it out. Especially with King, because like I said, he's snappy. Not that I blame him. If you're hurting, no one's sunshine and lollipops when they're hurting. Safety scissors. So, move that all aside. One thing that I forgot to mention is that. So I'll show you a slightly larger view. So I keep this. It's a plastic envelope. It has the dog's vaccination records in it, rabies in particular. So what I've done is I've done like a very brief summary of each of the dogs. So their name, their breed, the coloring, when they were born, and then anything that people should know. And the way I figure it is this. If I'm incapacitated, so let's say we hit a deer and I'm knocked unconscious and emergency services attend, they're gonna look in the glove box. You look in the glove box, you're gonna see this. You're gonna know who all the dogs are, and you're gonna know if you have any issues with them. So if I'm in a hospital, the dogs are gonna be shipped off to a shelter, a rescue, or even one of the first responders is gonna hold on to them. I want them to know as much as they need to about the dogs to make that as least stressful as it possibly can be, bearing in mind that if we were just in a collision to the point where I'm unconscious, it's going to be pretty freaking stressful. But I want them to know that, for example, King does not get along well with other dogs. The last thing I want them to do is open up the door, and you'd hope that they wouldn't just open up the door and say, hey, come on into my home, and next thing you know, you have a dog fight. But you never know, because these 3 get along really, really well. You would think there's no issues. I want them to know that Leo is missing an eye, not because of any medical concerns, but because it was injured. So just little things like that to make it as, I don't want to say painless as possible, but as smooth as possible. So on top of that, I have now this is down and dirty, bare bones, what I take hiking. Usually I include this, but I actually ran out. So, again, it's in zip top bag because if it's in my backpack, even if it's in my backpack, it could still get wet. So, although I'm out like what, $2? More non-stick pads. So again, laceration, stop the bleeding. Tape. So if like I slice open my arm, tape it on up, which is why I would also use this, because if it's the dogs, I don't want to be putting tape on fur, because just the thought of that makes my skin crawl. Now this is a little unorthodox. Chopsticks. These are just regular chopsticks that you get with your takeout. So, bad day on the trail, I take a header, I stand up, I go whoo, and my finger is bent in a weird direction. Now I've got a splint, tape it up. My wrist, I've got 2 wrists all of a sudden. Oh crud, what do? Mobilize on either side of the break, tape it up. Now it's immobilized. Let's just say it's my dogs who are having a bad day and they get, they twist a leg. Okay, it's hanging, it's dangling. King, I likely wouldn't use these. I would have to use a mittful of chopsticks. Like his front legs are the size of my arms. That's not going to do a lot. It'll do more than nothing, but I would rather just grab a stick from the side of the trail. Even though, these are smooth, they're light, they're straight. It's better than nothing, but I would rather use a stick if need be. So let's just say Leo or Lily, I could take this. Again, wrap it up in this, immobilize. If I need to, I can break it down. Again, I've got a splint. And if I'm having a really bad time, I'm trying to start a fire and won't start, take a knife or the scissors, shave that off, you've got tinder. No need to swipe on this one. So, oh hello. Here, you can demo something here, there we go. So you can see how, she's got those little tiny, she's not the best model. But you can see, if need be, like this is down and dirty. This is emergency, we're 10 clicks. Well, you're such a good girl. Yeah, we're 10 clicks from somewhere. I don't want her legs flapping around as I'm carrying her. I'm gonna mobilize it as best as I can. And that's what it is, as best as I can with what I've got. So of course, you have to play. You're too big to lift up. So, whatever you decide to carry or not carry, think about the situations that you're likely going to deal with and how you're going to handle them. Likely on the trail, sprained, twisted ankle. Are we done? We're good? We're good? You're so cute. Go play go play. They're like toddlers. They wait till you're on the phone and then they start yelling. So, what are you going to do with a twisted ankle? You're not going to use the chopsticks on that. If it's just a twisted ankle, okay, you hobble on out, nurse your pride on the way back. If it's, wrap it up with the adhesive bandage. If it's broken, if all of a sudden you have an extra knee, can you get a stick? Can you splint it? Is it worth trying to move? Do you have cell service? Can you call for someone to help you? If it's your dog, what are you going to do with the dog? Or if they slice open their paw, what are you going to do? Well, let's just say it's King. He steps on a clamshell, slices his paw open. I take this, wrap it up with this, and work our way on out. If Leo or Lily were unable to move, it's easy. I just do the best I can. Stop the bleeding, stop the limb from flapping around. Pick them up and carry them out. I can't do that with King. So what am I going to do? Well, if I have my hiking poles, I can strap them to them, turn it into like a little what do they call it, travois, where you take that and then you tie him on there and then drag him out. Likely he's not going to be too happy with that. Do I let him walk as slow as he can? I mean, you're not going to get an ambulance for a dog injury. So think about what you would do in every situation as you're hiking a trail. If it's getting too rough, if it's getting too dangerous, don't be afraid to turn around, because what happens if they hurt themselves jumping down a rock face? What happens if they lose their balance at the top of one and roll over backwards? What happens if they pull you down a rock face? I've got not so spry leg, so I'm really careful about them all pulling me off balance, because with 2 confirmed pullers, that's something that we really have to work on. So I really am careful to not let them pull me. And some people are like, oh, you're so strict. It's like, well, if you pull me down a rock face, if I'm lucky, I've just bruised my ego. If I'm really unlucky, I'm knocked unconscious when I hit my head on a rock. And then they're gonna have a really lousy time, because they're gonna be attached to me, and it's gonna get dark, it's gonna be wildlife. So it literally can be a matter of life and death, depending on all these circumstances. So I guess what I'm trying to say is, be comfortable with what you have, carry what you think you need, and be ready for any situation that you may face and how you're going to handle it. Because if you're ready for the big stuff, the little stuff like, I stuck my hand through a raspberry bush isn't going to be quite so bad. Continue on, let's go. So that's my first aid kit, my first aid gear. Let me know what you think. What do you carry? Is there anything that you liked? Is there anything that you didn't like? If you thought something was silly or useless, let me know. If you've got some different views, I'd love to hear it. Like, subscribe, and share. And safe travels out there. What do you think, little one? Is there anything that we should add? Always be prepared. You're so smart. You're such a good girl. Can't believe you're actually napping. It's the middle of the day. What do you think, wee man? Is there anything I'm forgetting? Always have a plan if things go wrong. You know what, Leo? That is... Okay, Lily's tail. That is brilliant. You are such a smart man. I'm sorry I woke you up. Oh, hi. Hi. What do you think, big man? Do you have anything to add? I'm trying to be professional here and you're ruining it completely. Is that the scratch my belly? Scratch my belly, scratch my belly, 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 belly. Yeah, I love you too.